Brexit. Obviously, it's been the word on everyone's lips since the referendum, trying to work out what it means and what happens next. So, if I'll pose the first question, what is the likely impact of Brexit on the construction sector? What do we think is going to happen next? Does anyone want to be brave enough to start that one off?
Don't think anybody knows.
No. Isn't that the problem?
Well, I'll start on a funny note then.
Go on then.
I was in Cornwall at the weekend and I had lunch with a German who was visiting the UK, and his view was we'd make a dreadful, dreadful mistake and we were going to pay for our actions. Mm-hmm. There we go. That was his view as a German.
Okay. So, and is that...
So as a German-owned company, John?
Well, that, from my experience, that's the view of pretty much everybody in Europe, whether you're French, German, Italian, or from Eastern Europe. It's the view generally in Europe, and certainly the exit negotiations will not be easy. Once we issue the Article 50 notice, the French and the Germans and the other countries will not make it easy for us to leave, because obviously they want to make an example of us to deter anybody else that might be going down this route. But to go back to the question of what it's going to mean for construction, I think there are two ways, really, two areas. If you talk about residential, the issue with residential is it's all about confidence. It's all about consumer confidence and whether they're going to be employed, whether they're going to have the confidence to go and get the mortgage to increase their borrowing and their commitments. Because the fundamentals of the market are still the same. We still need 250,000 houses a year. That hasn't changed. So that's about confidence, which is a very nebulous thing, and we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. The house builders at the moment are telling us that they see nothing changing going forward, but we all know house builders will change very quickly should they see a drop in demand. In terms of non-housing, then again, breaking that into two areas, infrastructure, well, that's really down to the government to drive, and that's an area where government can put some money into the economy, and I think we wait and see what happens in the autumn statement about what they're going to do with regards to infrastructure. In terms of private investment, offices and the like, then it depends what you read. You can read everything staying the same and there's no challenges, but then I was reading in the papers on Sunday that Arup are getting rid of 900 people from their London building division because they see a slowdown in activity, and they see clients pushing projects back or even cancelling projects. Again, stories yesterday that big American banks are recruiting people in Frankfurt rather than recruiting people in London. The reality is nobody knows, and we've not seen any, my view is we've not seen any Brexit impacts in 2016, and I don't think we will, until we actually start the process of exit and see exactly what that means.
But isn't that the problem? Because at the moment, although the government is saying, Brexit means Brexit and we're going to start, no one's actually come up with a definitive set of exactly what the changes are going to be. And everyone's really just guessing as to whether, what's going to be the impact on imports and exports and taxes and all the things that impact on the decisions that you all may have to make as a business as you're forecasting.
I think the concern is the next couple of years, as John says, is when or if, and when Article 50 gets put through, where's the lag? Because European funding that comes into infrastructure and projects in the UK will stop at some point. Will UK government be able to pick that up at exactly the point it stops? No. And I think that comes back to this issue about uncertainty and confidence within the marketplace. And I think that's a real concern. Interestingly, straight after Brexit, I don't think we saw any major impacts. We are starting to see now where we were thinking there were a lot of projects were delayed and were still going to happen. We're now in a situation where a lot of projects we thought were going to happen in the sort of commercial refurb market have not happened.
And is that they're not going to happen? They've been cancelled?
I think there's two things. One issue, and I appreciate we're going to talk about it later, is skill shortages. Because what's happened, a lot of projects have been pushed back, and now all of a sudden there's a lot of projects want to happen at the same time, but there just isn't the skill set there. There isn't the labour there to do it. But I also think some of them have been put back maybe 12 months. Purely and simply for confidence in cash availability and what that future is going to bring for those businesses.
As a matter of interest, there's obviously a lot of international owned businesses here. Have you seen investment in your own businesses for 2017? Whether it's a German owner or a Swiss owner or a Danish owner, whatever. Have you seen a capping of investment levels, or are they saying actually we're still prepared to support the UK regardless of what might happen?
It's a bit early for me to answer that question. we got some investment in one of our plants signed off, €5 million, but that was signed off before the Brexit vote. But as far as investment plans for next year, at the moment I'm not seeing any change, but then we didn't have any major investments planned. It was just, keeping the factories running and doing what we needed to do. So we had nothing major planned for next year.
Because I've spoken to both Saint-Gobain and Travis about the same issue, and both of them are saying so far it's not affected any investment decisions, particularly Saint-Gobain. That was where I thought the French may have capped any investment in the UK, but certainly on the merchant side, I'm not getting that feedback that there's been any holding back of investment as far as the
I think it depends. I think it depends on the business as well. I mean, we're a family-owned business, and we've got a major investment happening next year. And as soon as Brexit happened, we did have a debate about whether we continued with that investment or not. But because we're a family business and we're not necessarily looking at a shareholder return sort of next year or the year after, it's all about the long term. We're continuing with that investment. So at this moment in time, there's no change in our investment strategy. Talking to other companies where they've got foreign owners, in some instances investment has been not stopped but just paused while they sort of take stock and see what's happening.
I think there's a lot of that just on hold. I think the people are willing to invest, but it's they're just waiting when is the best time, because we just don't know enough about this Brexit situation. When is the best time to actually use the investment?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's actually holding up the investment.
That was linked to what John was talking about, consumer confidence, well, especially in our business now, for it's all predominantly driven by new house building. So if the consumer hasn't got confidence, of a knock on into the businesses, although we do have to take as a family-owned business also, you take a decision, you have to invest for 2, 3, 4 years' time, and you still have the optimism that the market will come